poppin', y'all? It's me, Mike, and I'm here with my guy.
Commander P.
And you are
That's
now
close.
listening to
Sorry.
Sporting Convos with Eddie and Mike. And it's been a minute. It's been a minute. A lot has
Yep.
happened. A lot has happened since we last talked to y'all. Including the NFC Championship game. This is our first show since the game, and just want to give a little quick recap, real quick. It sucked. It really sucked. Commanders took the L 55-23, or was it 55-22? I don't remember.
It was 23.
Nevertheless, it was uh, it was a badly paid game by both units, marred by the inability to stop big plays on defense and ball control or ball security on offense. The team they preach, they coach ball is life an entire season, and in the biggest game of the year, they gave it up repeatedly. 5 turnovers in total, I believe.
Yep,
Um,
they did.
the the third turnover being what I believe the most costly turnover. Washington, you all know it by now. Washington down 11. They're driving upfield on late in the third quarter. Eckler catches the pass, gets up, and immediately gets peanut punched. Ball falls out. Philly recovers, scores a touchdown, and next thing you know, instead of making it a potentially 3-point game, Washington was down 18, and it was a wrap after that. And yeah, that's we're not that talented. We can't overcome those type of mistakes. That's my 2.5 cents on the NFC Championship game, bro. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it was the third time we played the Eagles. They were in their house. They've also been getting better as the game goes on, as far as running the ball. I think they really figured out, hey, if we limit Hurts throwing and just make him run and just kind of really stay behind that O line. And not only is that their strength, but that's our weakness. Our defense played out of their minds last week or excuse me, last week, the week prior against Detroit. And, it was just sort of a comeback to earth moment. Play one. Saquon just runs like some kind of Madden highlight, runs all over us and scores. And it kind of really set the tone for the game. I thought, we made valiant efforts to get back in the game at times and did what we could. But at the same time, um, some penalties here and there. I don't know that they would have been enough to change things, but a hold on Luvu, I think, and the Eagles were driving, they would have stalled. There's some minor things like that, but you know, we've been playing with house money this whole season, and it just kind of was one of those things like, the gravy train ended. And uh I am upset, and it sucks because Philly and their fans are insufferable, and it's just, you know, you don't want it to end because it was just so great. We've won a lot of games, even one against Philly, making the comeback. And yeah, it just we didn't have it that day. That's the best way to put it. We didn't have it that day.
Yeah, that's definitely like the best way to put it. Now, I'm sorry, the best way to put it. Now that I think about it, it just was not Washington's day. Penalties too.
Oh yeah,
Penalties
yeah.
really screwed us, and we could talk all day about the refs and their slant towards Philly. The
It
fact of the matter is that
it definitely felt that way.
yeah, even if the game was played, even if the refereeing was done more fairly, Washington showed that they still have a couple of steps to go before they can
Definitely.
be considered on that same level as Philly and Kansas City and Baltimore and Buffalo. I feel
Yeah.
like they're right there.
We're getting
They're
there.
right there. And transitioning, they can go over the top with, I feel, may be one of the biggest moves that any team can make right now in the NFL. And a team that was literally 60 minutes away from the Super Bowl makes this move. It really could vault Washington over Philly. And that, of course, is trading for one Myles Garrett, defensive beast of the Cleveland Browns. And he demanded a trade. Not demanded a trade. He requested a trade. Let's use the words. He requested a trade on Monday. Before he requested a trade, Cleveland said, "We're not trading Myles Garrett." So we know that they're not trying to trade him. But that was before he publicly, like this man sent a letter. Like this man wrote a whole love letter requesting a trade. He wants to get out of there. He doesn't want to go through another rebuild. He didn't say this in the letter, but I'm saying it. Cleveland, you played my guy. When you did what you did to bring in Watson, you played my guy. You played Mayfield. You're reaping what you sow. And personally speaking, I hope Adam Peters put shot on the table. But I don't think that's going to happen. So before we can get into some hypothetical trades for Myles Garrett that I want to read off to you real quick, what are your thoughts on pursuing him? Are you let's have a little fun with it. Let's say it's a girl and you're trying to pursue a date. Let's think high school with it. Let's think we're back in high school. We're back
Oh
in high
boy.
school. Are
That's
you Are you going to send her a little love letter? Are you going to send Cleveland a little love letter, a little love note? Check yes or no if you're interested in trading Myles Garrett. Are you going to get their number and call them, or are you going to see them, or you going to go straight to their face after school and knock them out of lockers? What approach are you taking?
I'll probably, you know, little bit of a tweener there with the options, but I'll probably maybe do a little research, but then go straight after school and try to start macking um, at first. And you had posted something, and I expressed a little bit of squeamishness, a little bit of hesitation, just because of all the past times with free agents that we have burned ourselves. But Mike, I am a believer in the book of Garrett. I am all in. Um, and again, you said you want to get into some hypotheticals. So I'm all in for the right price, of course. Now, I don't think that, we can just hand over like a dryer and a microwave and, get them. But I also, here's the thing. We're obviously going to give up at least one first round pick, right? Probably more. You got to figure, fingers crossed, everything going according to plan. Those are going to be low first round picks. And the probability, I get it. There's higher potential within that top 10, top 5. I get that part. But they're all hit or miss. You can flop on 29th pick as much as you can flop on the first pick. And I understand it's worse when you flop on the first one. I get it. But point I'm trying to make is I think the juice is worth the squeeze, and we kind of like we got the right set of hands and forearms to do the squeeze. I don't know, man. I think we should get him is what I'm going to go ahead and say, and just stop what I was saying earlier. Let's go ahead and trade for him.
Nah, I'm with it. I'm so with it. Okay. Now that we have that out the way, um, let's go through some let's go through some hypothetical trades. Some hypothetical trades. Let's rate them on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being, oh, that's a great, great move to bring in Myles Garrett. With 1 being, oh, heck nah, that's too much.
Okay.
All right, sorry to be all animated, but first trade. I wish I can give credit. Let's see if I could give credit. No, I cannot give credit. Um, sorry, I can't give credit. So the first scenario or the first trade offer on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being great and 1 being nah. Cleveland receives Washington's 25 first round pick and a 26 second round pick for Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Yes, please. If that's all that we can get him for that, pull. Now you can't like what I'm doing. I'm making the noise. I don't know if it's picking it up. My hand is moving very fast. You're pushing the button, like if I knew after you said the second round and that's all, then that was going to be it. I would have pushed the button before you could have finished talking.
That was, yeah, that's a 5. That's a straight up 5
Like my God,
because
yes, please.
I don't
I
know. I
hope
really wish I knew
Haslam
who.
or whatever that owner's name is, whatever that jackaloon, please let him do that crap.
I I was. Yeah, I don't know who had that trade, but yeah, that's not. That's a 5, and it's not happening. Like they're not going to trade him for just the first and the second,
Uh,
especially with the leverage that they have. I don't think
Mike,
even Cleveland
Mike,
can
we
mess
have
that
to
up.
believe in it for it to like the willpower.
Uh, Second trade, Cleveland receives Washington's 2025 first round pick, 2026 first round pick for Myles Garrett. That's the proposal that I offered as soon as I found out he was available for trade. I think that's the best. Oh, wow. Okay. I think that's the. I'm sorry, I looked ahead a little bit, man. Anyway, I think that's the best trade that um that's honestly that's minimum for me, Eddie. That is, I'm willing
Yeah.
to go more than that if need be, but a 2025 first round pick and a 2026 first round pick for a defensive end that's 29, I feel like is more than fair, and I'll give this a 4.5.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be right there with you. I mean, the first one was obviously a way sweeter deal, but I kind of tend to believe what you're saying. But I mean, you never know. But anyway, yeah, I'd take this deal as well. I would not
Now,
be as emphatic, obviously, but it would still be like not far behind the emphatic level or the level of emphaticness for which I would
now,
be.
now we're talking. Now we're getting into the juicy stuff.
All right,
Washington
all turkey.
receives Miles. Washington receives Myles Garrett. Cleveland Brown receives 2025 first round pick, 2025 third round pick, 2025 third round pick, and Jonathan Allen. So that's a first, 2/3, and Jonathan Allen. What you feeling on that, bro?
I don't know. I thought Johnny Newton played pretty well. I don't know if his first name's Johnny now that I'm thinking about it. I'm all in my
It's
head about
Johnny.
that. Okay, well then.
Real name is Zerjon, but Johnny.
Oh goodness. Uh I don't mind that one. I just you can't have your cake and eat it too. I just if what we hope and what we think based on what's already happened, if we're gonna get better and this is the window, then we need to get. I think that's really a part of it too. This is a guy. I think the more I think about it, I probably should have said this earlier. I Myles Garrett probably is more of the once in a generational player than Chase. Chase Young was supposed to be that. I think Myles Garrett has kind of been that. Because who on the Browns? Like, can you name me? I think Zadarius Smith was there, but then he went to the Lions, so he wasn't really there that long. I don't know any other pass rushers on their team. And so that speaks volumes. It's the Calvin Johnson thing for me. Who else is the team keying in on to plan their game plan around? Yet this guy still cooks. So yeah, we absolutely need to get him. But anyway, as I rambled, I was saying I really would want to keep Jonathan Allen for the simple fact that like he's been a guy for us. Hadn't had the best year, had the injury, which sucked, but then fought hard to get in shape. I mean, to get,
Yeah.
healthy rather, for the playoffs. I'd like for him to be around if, like I said, what we think and what we hope is going to happen based on what we've already seen as far as seizing that window, making that opportunity. I'd like for him to be there. But again, the window, it doesn't stay open long. If what we're wanting to happen happens, we would have a lot better chance with Myles Garrett. I mean, I think he's good against the run. He's good against the pass. Yeah, from everything I see, I'm not the biggest X's and O's guy. I only know a little bit here and there. Uh, looks like he can play 3-4 or 4-3. Looks like he's
Mhm.
that athletic, that strong, that everything. So pull the trigger. Hesitant, begrudgingly almost, but and I would try to. I know it sounds so lame. I'd try to throw some kind of farewell party, something. Do something real classy for John Allen. I would, but that's me. You
So
know.
that previous trade proposal was done by Diana Rossini of the Athletic, formerly of
Yeah, I recognize the name.
WRC4. Um, yeah, this was the audience. So, um, last offer. Well, I'm not even gonna read the last offer because it's pretty much the same offer. Just well, I'll read it. It's not the same. Myles Garrett at a 20. We received Myles Garrett in the 2025 fifth round pick. I'm sorry, and we're sending a 2025 first round pick, 2026 second round pick, and Deron Payne. Um, that Allen trade, I'll give that a 4, and I'll give this one a 4 too. Only because, like you said, it's not about what we're giving up. Pretty much pause, but I'm pretty much willing to give up anything. Again, pause. Um, I just don't want to give up too much that's going to hamper me from making draft picks because my ultimate goal is to make, if I'm Adam Peters, my ultimate goal is to still try to build through the draft. However, there's not a player that I can get in the next 3 drafts that's going to be that's going to have the impact that Myles Garrett has. So if Cleveland plays hardball and says, Adam, AP, forget all that, man. Give us the 3 first round picks. I might have to do that, young. I really might have to do that because A, not only am I bringing in Myles Garrett to my defense that really needs help, B, I'm keeping them the heck out of Philly and Detroit's hands.
That's an excellent point, and I was actually going to make that too, Mike. I'm not going to lie. All right, give up the three. I'm weighing this because I was about to counter and say, "Hey, look, that last one you said, I'm kind of as close as I was emphatically, on the emphatic scale, the emphasis. I am I'm almost all in on that one because Payne and Allen both have big contracts, right? And I would love for both of them to be on the team if we make a real good run and we add some guys and we really gear up, we get a posse, you know what I mean? And we really go at this thing because we have the guy in Jaden Daniels, obviously, to do it. But we maybe keep the picks. I mean, what did you say that last one? That last one was a 2025 first, a 2025 second, and then Deron Payne, and that's it.
2026 second.
So only one pick in the 2025 first round, which is going to be like the 29th or 30th pick.
It's
Something very,
29.
yeah, something very low. And then just a second round the following year after in Deron Payne. So we get rid of Deron Payne's contract. Granted, we taking on Myles Garrett's contract. It's pretty hefty. But yeah, I would take that because then we keep the picks and we can keep building the way we have with the draft. Now, again, as we mentioned last pick, I kind of mentioned, but as we mentioned, we're not gonna hit the way we did in free agency in the draft this past season. But at the same time, that doesn't mean we're gonna go over either. So your chances grow, you know, Allen Iverson and Wayne Gretzky will tell you, you know, more shots you take, better chance you have of some going in. So I'm not saying we have to like take our draft picks to the grave. And it's not that I favor Allen over Payne because I don't want to get rid of either one of them. But the Allen one we were giving up more picks too. The one with Payne, dude, I'm sorry. It's no disrespect to Deron Payne, but that's almost as good as the first one. You tell
I'll
me.
counter that. I'll counter that by saying we were giving up more picks for Allen, but they were third round picks, whereas this is a first and second round pick. And I get it. Like to me, I think those two trades are about equal. The only like there every trade that I've read, I would do it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And that's why I went above the offers that I've been reading and said, because if I'm Cleveland, I know what I got. I know what I got, bro. And
Yeah.
he's not moving unless you come up off of what I need. I need three first. And if you be like, man, screw you, Mike. I'll be like, all right, but I need two first. I need two first, a late pick, and a player. I'm not leaving here without four more assets for this one person. And I need at least two of those assets to be first round level assets. Because if you don't give me that, what are we talking about? Again, I know what I have. You need this. Philly needs this. Detroit needed too. I'm not
Yeah.
trading them in the AFC. All you AFC teams, kick rocks. Like I'm not trading him in the AFC, you idiot. Baltimore, are you kidding me? I saw Raven fans talking
That would
about,
be
are you
insane.
kidding me? Do you think Cleveland are the Giants? Like they're not just going to let this valuable asset fall into the wrong hands. So, like that's my piece on Garrett, and surprise, like there's more. There's more. Um, Cooper Kupp, LA Rams on Monday night, or was it Tuesday night? I think it was Monday night. It was the same day that Myles Garrett requested this trade. The Rams hit us with, "Hey, not only are we willing to trade Cooper Kupp, we'll eat some of the salary." Oh, oh,
Yeah, the Rams don't play around. That just seems to be their MO. Hey, look, man, I don't want to bounce around real quick. I know you want to talk about your boy Cooper Kupp. I'm gonna be real quick. I don't want him, but going back, so I'll do the
please.
first one to get it out the way because it pertains to Myles Garrett, and then we can move forward to like free agency. So let me get real quick. Do you think there's any other players on our team? I guess we could apply this not just to Cleveland. Is there any other players on our team outside of Terry or Jaden that oh, never mind. Let me think. All right. You think there's any other players on our team that guys would want? Obviously, Jaden and Terry. But is there any other players on our team you think that would be
Hold on,
tradable?
let's see.
And
Next
would you
man
be willing
trade.
to get rid of them? Sorry it took me so long to arrive at that point. I was trying
No.
to eloquently
Um,
ask the question and I just stumbled.
I'd say Allen Payne. Um, who else? Oh, all the rookies, all of them.
You'd
Well,
be willing to
everybody.
trade the rookies. Or they're
Uh,
part of the exempt. You wouldn't.
there. No, I thought you meant like players that other teams will want.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now, the only players that I'm not willing to trade are McLaurin and Daniels. Like, let's just get that out the way. Just
Really?
those two, because but only based on what I'm getting back. Like, I'm not trading everybody, but I can't. I know I'm not going to be able to keep everybody either. So if the Rams are like, man, we'll give y'all a cup and eat half the salary for a fourth round pick and who I'm trying to think of for a fourth round pick and Brian Robinson. Let's just say Brian Robinson. They want to back up running back to Kyron Williams. I'm gonna be like, no, the fourth is a bit too high. Can we make that a six in Brian Robinson? They'll probably accept that because I heard that they've been looking for a 6 round pick or whatever. So if I'm like, it depends on the player. And now I love this because there's one person making all these trades possible because there's a third player that may be available too, and that's Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from the Jets. And since I like this is what I was looking at earlier. I saw a hypothetical trade for Garrett Wilson, and it was I want to make sure I'm giving credit for this one. Gary Davenport from the Bleacher Report said that the Commanders would receive Garrett Wilson for the Jets 2020. I mean, for the Washington's first round pick, which is number 29, and a 2026 6 round pick. There is not a player in the draft again that will help this team more than Garrett Wilson will help Washington, not only this season, but for the foreseeable future. And that's why I'm willing to get Myles Garrett or Garrett Wilson and not Cooper Kupp. Because I think Cooper Kupp is on the downside of his career. And if you notice, the offers, the proposals is lower than what Garrett Wilson and Myles Garrett are fetching. So I base trades on what I'm getting in return and what I'm willing to give up, not who I'm willing to keep, but what I'm willing to give up. And when it comes to Myles Garrett, I'm willing to give up almost anything. Again, pause. When it comes to Garrett Wilson, I'll give up enough. But when it comes to Cooper Kupp, I don't think I'm willing to give up anything just based on his injury history, his speed. He wasn't a burner coming out of college, and now he's older and injured. Um, but if the Rams are like just trying to give him away, I think asking for like a 6 round pick and eating half the salary,
It's giving.
yeah, I would,
It's giving.
yeah, I would at least because if you're willing to do that, you can hold off on getting another receiver for another year, and a trio of Cup, McLaurin, Ertz is a great trio for the person that makes this all possible. And that's what I was going to say earlier. If it wasn't for Jay and Daniels, we wouldn't be having these conversations right now. Or I would be telling you, go kick
Praise.
rocks. We're not like it's something you mentioned earlier too. Go kick rocks. We can't do this right now. We're not that good. We don't have the pieces to do things like this. Well, we have the piece now. We have the piece now, and I know, like I get it, young. Like teams gonna get tape on Jay Daniels. He's a year older. The sophomore slump, things like that, bruh. That goes both ways. This coaching staff is coming back. Everybody's coming back.
Yeah, we
Every
kept the
single
band together.
offensive player, every single offensive coach is coming back with Jay Daniels next year. That usually doesn't happen with rookie quarterbacks. And on top of that, like I keep hearing people say sophomore slump this, they're gonna get tape or whatever. Let's just when you're facing Jay Daniels or when you have faced Jay Daniels this season, what did you do to stop him? You would try to you try to force him to pass the ball. Oh, next thing you know, he's rushing for 80 yards in the game. Oh, you try to stop him from scrambling and put the ball in his hands. Thank you. That's what he wanted in the first place. So it's like you like I get it. I get it. He's a rookie. Sophomore slumps usually happen. But we just saw this season that this dude isn't a regular rookie. He just led his team to the conference championship game. He didn't he wasn't a spectator like Mark Sanchez and Ben Roethlisberger and them. It was him. And in said game, he balled out. The rest of the team did. That's why I'm willing to give up 3 firsts for Myles Garrett because we don't have to do much to build the team because with those two players alone, it really boosts the entire roster. Just those two boost the entire roster. And my final point on all this trade talk before we move on to the Super Bowl. Um, we have Adam Peters. We have Adam Peters, and all I'm gonna tell y'all is this man has won Super Bowls in New England, made Super Bowls in Denver, and in his first, made Super Bowls with San Francisco, and in his first season in Washington, first
Yep.
season, made it to the conference championship game. This dude knows what he's doing. If he's all in on Myles Garrett, that's good enough for me. But if he's passing on Garrett, if he's passing on Wilson, if he's passing on Kupp, I trust Adam to pick the best players that he could possibly pick because he's been doing it for the last 25 years.
Yeah, totally agree. It is pretty cool bringing the band back together. Uh, I'm I'm out on Cup. I wouldn't mind a Garrett Wilson. I think that'd be like kind of interesting having the dual Ohio State receivers, almost similar to the Alabama line that we had building when we drafted Payne and Allen. Um, yeah, sophomore slump. Yeah, I agree with all that too because I think that was part of what made Jaden so great. It wasn't just his poise and how calm he was and all those kind of things. It was that this dude works and he gets better. And if we're bringing everybody back and we're improving on a roster that cooked like, and no disrespect to anybody, but some of these guys, this maybe was one of their last hoorahs. If you're like an Eckler, Bobby Wagner, I know he's coming back, but he's getting long in the tooth. And we kind of slapped a lot of it together. And I don't just mean, no disrespect to Peters, his crew. I don't mean like, oh, they just picked all these guys and it happened to work. But at the same time, there was a lot there. When you bring all these different guys in who haven't played together and they somehow made it work and then really gelled, um, yeah, like for all that to happen, that speaks even more volumes to Jaden because, like you said, he was the main reason why. But then for all that to be going on around him and him succeed, so you got to figure we're going to be setting it. It's like Lamar. I don't know if people remember Lamar Jackson's first year. His first couple of years, he didn't really play that much. And when they brought him in, they kind of like it was obvious that, oh, Lamar's in. They're going to try to do some kind of run, whatever. They didn't have the personnel. They didn't have all those things going on. Look at what's happened as they've built that team around him. The guy's winning MVPs. The team is in the playoffs every year. I get that they haven't had the success in the playoffs they wanted, but the point is once they gave him the right ingredients to cook with, dude was busting out some gourmet-ish. And I feel like that's exactly what Jaden Daniels is going to do. And I'm with you. Like, we got Adam Peters. We got the guy who's going to give us the absolute, he is going to find the wholest of the foods to get our groceries from. And Jaden Daniels is going to, he's going to wow us. He's going to do some Gordon Ramsay stuff. It's just a scientific fact.
I like, yeah, like I said, we're in great position. But if we could find a way to pull off one of these trades, bro, for Wilson or Garrett, and there's a name that's been thrown out there. I'm not going to tell y'all. I'm gonna tell Eddie after the show. But
Oh,
there's a name that's been thrown out there, and if you know me, you know this person is my guy. And if they said they want 3 firsts for him, I really might give it up.
oh wow.
And if more solid info comes out, we can start talking about it on the show, but I will not utter that nonsense on this show.
I want to throw one sleeper out there, and I know y'all are going to think this is funny, especially considering like, Ron was here and he wanted, it was the what is it? What were we, the Commanders, right? Because he brought in so many Carolina guys, and I know now Dan Quinn came and Witt, and they brought in Cowboys guys. That dude Turpin, I think, is going to be a free agent.
Oh,
The
for real?
the kick returner.
Oh,
I
that's
am not kidding.
interesting.
It's yeah, he burned us, and of
He is
course,
fast.
can you imagine like some of the plays we run if we have him in motion, going into the backfield, all that kind of crap? We got Jaden. It maybe, if we still got Eckler, I don't know, and B Rob, and now we got that guy floating around. Like, man, I'm imagining like sort of a Darren Sproles kind of thing going on. I saw somebody put that up there, and at first I was like, "Oh hell no!" It just because he's a cowboy, you know what I mean? Like my bias kicked in, and I was like, "Ah, no, get this out of my face." And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, "Bro, we let that guy we cut him loose." I don't know, man. Maybe I'm thinking too much like Madden video game type stuff, but I think that would be dope. But I just wanted to float that out there.
Speaking of video game type stuff, I don't think we're going to witness a video game type game on Sunday at
Oh,
Super Bowl 59
really?
between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Really wish it was the Commanders and Bills or Commanders and Chiefs, but it is what it is. Quick note, real quick. Huh? Oh wow. Eli Manning did not get elected to the Hall of Fame, but Antonio Gates did. Um, yeah.
I'm all for it. I'm sorry. I don't want to go on too much of a rant, but both times it was defense. Both times there were magnificent catches made. I'm talking about Super Bowls when I say both times. I mean, look, I get it. That first Super Bowl, especially, he went on a run. He put up a statistical playoff run / performance from an individual standpoint. That was absolutely amazing as far as completion percentage, touchdown to interception, touchdowns, yards, the whole nine. I get all that. You look at that man's turnovers compared to touchdowns, it's crazy. Like I said, both games, big plays from the defense, getting at Tom Brady. They want to say he's the Patriot killer or whatever his nickname is. Like, of course, I was rooting for him then because I didn't like the Patriots. I'm telling you, it's not to say he's bad, but I just don't think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I just don't.
Oh, you tripping? He's getting in. He might not be first
I'm
ballot, but
not
he's getting
tripping.
in.
Would you know who David Tyree is if he didn't make that catch?
Bruh, it it doesn't matter. Like he won two
Mario
rings.
Manningham?
He won two
Big
rings.
Michigan guy now.
He won two
Ironic,
rings. He
I'm sure
had
both those guys played for Michigan.
no, that's cool and all, but he won two rings. He had
Because of Justin
mediocre
Tuck and
regular
Michael
season.
Strahan and Chris Canty and OCU Minora and Jason Pierre-Paul.
Can't say that, bro. Like,
It's
they
no different
scored.
than Russell Wilson when he won his Super Bowl with Seattle. You think that was because of Russell Wilson? No.
Bro, they scored
Because of
50
Legion of
points
Boom.
on the they scored 50 points on the Broncos that in the Super Bowl. Like, I know, I get what you're saying, but like,
How many did Russell
don't
Wilson? It
act
was
like the
that one
Seahawks.
guy
Don't
getting
act
a
like the
pick six and
Seahawks
a fumble return
offense
for a
wasn't
touchdown,
cooking, bro.
the guy who got
Bro,
MVP he scored like 4 touchdowns defensively.
the Seahawks offense was cooking with Wilson and Lynch and Doug Baldwin and
With Lynch, they were cooking, and with the defense.
bro, Wilson did his part in that Super Bowl, and probably if it wasn't for dumb play calling, probably would have won two of them things. But I digress.
Wasn't that an audible from him? Because he wanted
Um,
to throw.
no, it wasn't audible. They called the play, and
Okay.
of course, I personally think that they wanted to try to put Lynch in his place and not have him score the Super Bowl winning touchdown, and they wanted to throw it in. And I think that ego trip cost them a Super Bowl, or that pettiness cost them a Super Bowl, or hell, even if you want to call it closet racism or whatever, like whatever stereotype caused them to not run the ball with the best. Well, I wouldn't say the best, but he was top 5 running back at the time. And the era where running the ball was still like important. Yeah, they messed up. But how do we
Sure.
even get off of that?
Yeah.
And another quick note, real quick. Jayden Daniels officially
MVP.
AP offensive rookie of the year. Had 49 or 50 first place votes. I would love to know who that 50th person is so we could clown him. But yeah, he had over 450 points total. The second closest was Brock Bowers, and he had like 254. So he ran away with the vote. Whoever didn't vote for him, shame on you. Shame on you, because it should have been unanimous for sure. But anyway, back to the Super Bowl. I'm not expecting too much high scoring, but it's weird. I don't expect high scoring, but I still expect the offenses to put up points. It's just that they won't put up a lot of points quickly because that's kind of not their style. Well, let me rephrase that. The Chiefs aren't going to allow Philly to put up points too quickly because they're good at defending big plays. And offensively, the Chiefs don't really attack deep. They don't attack vertical. They death by 1,000 cuts you. And they just so happen to have the best quarterback ever to do that. I made a prediction, but I hear that Philly's having a little illness bug going around right now in the locker room.
Oh.
I feel like you're going to need to be at 100% to beat the Chiefs. And I wrote it down. I had a prediction for Philly to win 31-27, but I think I'm gonna flip that now and give me Chiefs 31, Philly 24. Um, I just think they're on a mission. A lot of people have been talking trash about them getting helped by the refs. Andy Reid, 2 weeks of preparation. And like I said, if Philly's dealing with an illness and they're not coming into because I think Jalen Carter was the first one that was reported to have this illness, and others have gotten it or contracted it from him, I guess. But it's Thursday, and that report came out today. He's been limited. He and Jalen Carter's been limited 2 days of practice. So I, yeah, like I'm not going to. It's hard to pick against the Chiefs. Period. It's hard to pick against them in the Super Bowl. It's hard to pick against Andy Reid with 2 weeks of preparation. But now you're asking me to do all that, and Philly's kind of banged up or feeling iffy or icky or whatever right now. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. And I might look stupid on Monday or next show if Philly pulls it off. But I'm gonna have to stick with the same prediction I made on the classified. I tried to change it. I tried to think it over and give Philly the benefit of doubt, but I just can't, broski.
Yeah, I mean, same. Plus, you got to figure, not. I don't totally believe in this, but at the same time, the whole NFL script angle, Taylor Swift's going to be there, going for the three-peat, which, by the way, your boy Pat Riley is about to get paid because he copyrighted and trademarked a three-peat back when he was coaching the Lakers. Yeah, he's going to allow the Chiefs to use it for like merchandise and stuff if they win. He's about to get paid. So he's probably definitely rooting for the Chiefs. I didn't know that about, as far as like the flu thing. I know there's like flu thing going around here in Northern Virginia, but no, I didn't know that the Eagles players were sick. I just think I'm going Chiefs 35, Eagles 28, by the way. But yeah, I just think you got Andy Reid, like you said, with the Batman like prep time. Plus, he's coaching against the Eagles. That's his former team. Might kind of like on some level, not necessarily with like players and coaching staff, because he's been in Kansas City for a minute now. So ain't none of those people still there besides the owner. And I don't know what that was like, if he, what their relationship was like, rather. But I do think on some level he wants to stick it to him. He's like, I used to coach there. I want to make sure I beat them. And, you know, Mahomes and Kelsey, plus you get a Pacheco. He should be, I think, uh, back on the come up as far as getting touches. Split him and Kareem Hunt as far as running the ball. You got Worthy, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown. It's a lot of speed, a lot of quickness. Yeah, but who knows? I honestly would love it if neither team won. If there was a way for that to happen, but not possible. So guess we're watching for commercials. No,
Right.
I'm
I,
kidding.
I honestly, I still don't know like what I'm doing for the game Sunday, like where I'm watching it at. I think I am going to watch it. Like if I'm not doing nothing or if I'm not going out with dinner after church or whatever, I'm gonna watch it. But and it really has nothing to do with Philly. Um, I I keep forgetting who played in the Super Bowl last year. It was the Chiefs and 49ers. But yeah, we'll see. We will see. That's it for football. Of course, the season never stops on Eddie and Mike do because soon as Super Bowl's over, the combine's going to start, and next thing you know, free agency starts. And next thing you know, the schedule. I mean, the NFL draft starts. Then next thing you know, the schedule come out. Then mini camp is somewhere in between all that. And before you know it, last week of July coming, we back at training camp doing this all over again. So thank y'all, Bama's, for hanging with us this NFL season. And get ready because next show is the start of the next season.
Yep.
uh, Having said all that, we are moving to basketball. And on Saturday night, I'll never forget, I am playing Chain Reaction. Well, no, I'm hosting Chain Reaction. They couldn't get the rules together, so I had to take over just to get it going. My ADHD and OCOD My OCD that kind of added an extra obsessive. My OC, my ADHD and OCD got the best of me. I had to take over and host a game. But nevertheless, in the midst of hosting a very intriguing game of chain reaction, I get a word on my phone. I'm thinking they trolling me, bro. Because I know that they did not trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. Oh, it's multiple alerts. Oh, this is shams.
Yep.
And that's long story short. 3-team trade. Mavericks receive Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first round pick. The Lakers receive Luka Doncic for Maxi Klebler, I'm sorry, and a good friend of ours, Keith Morris. And the Jazz even got a little something out of it. Guard Jalen Hood Shifino, and 2 second-round picks for the upcoming 2025 draft. I don't understand the trade from uh actually I understand it from everybody's perspective. Cause I get it. The Lakers, they needed a superstar. And it's crazy how they always end up with these superstars, man, but they have it. Like Luca is an LA now. And we're not just talking about arguably the best player in the league. Like there's levels to this. We're talking about arguably the most profitable international superstar in the league right now. Just got traded to the Lakers. You can talk about conspiracies all you want, but the fact of the matter is that it's just what the Lakers seem to do. They're going to find a way to get some superstars in LA, and the superstars are going to keep going there. So whatever. But I feel like this trade, the Mavericks are the early winners so far. I like the lineup combinations that they can throw out at these teams during the playoff season. And
Totally
if
agree.
Anthony
Totally
Davis,
agree.
if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, they're going to be a matchup problem in the West, man. How did I just before I'm gonna finish saying this? How did the Lakers win their championship in 2020? We can call it the bubble trophy or whatever. The fact of the matter is that they won.
When they got Anthony Davis.
It wasn't just Anthony Davis. They had Anthony Davis, they had JaVale McGee, and they had Dwight Howard. They had three tall people that they can throw at Jokic all game long and minimize his efficiency. Bruh, I'll be dang if the Mavericks don't have Anthony Davis, our
Daniel
boy
Gafford.
Daniel Gafford, and my man Derek Lively.
He's hurt right
That's
now, but he'll
three.
be back.
He'll be back. That's three big guys that they can throw at Jokic. And oh, who do we have in the backcourt? Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson with some key bench players, man. They got Jason Kidd as a coach. I like what
Dinwiddie,
they're doing.
Exum. Don't forget PJ Washington.
Right. They have they have a nice mix of young and veteran players, as well as some savvy coaching. Like this man Jason Kidd. Um, I don't think he didn't win the championship with Milwaukee, but he won the championship with Dallas as a player. I think he been to a title he been to the championship last year, matter of fact. So like I like what the Mavs did, love what the Lakers did. I don't even know why the Jazz are included, but whatever, fine. Give them a passing grade. But I'm here for this. I am here for it all.
Max Christie had 15 points tonight for the Mavericks. He was included in that trade. He can ball. And now look, I was watching this game. The Mavericks beat the Celtics 127 to 120. I'm here to tell you they had about a good 17 to 20 point lead for large portions of the game. You know, the Celtics would get it they dwindle it down to like a 15, maybe like 12-point deficit, and then the Mavericks would close it out. And then, they emptied the bench. And Boston made it a little closer, but they did that without Anthony Davis. I think the thing that's surprising, and I'm in the same boat as you. I was like, this can't be real. No disrespect to Black Adam Scheffner, but that was the first site or first whatever that I saw that on. And I thought this was like, it was like The Onion back in the day. It was like, you didn't believe anything on The Onion. And what makes it even crazier is Dallas only called LA. They didn't try to they probably could have gone to Brooklyn, or I'll tell you another team, and I don't, who knows, because I think their GM just came out and had said that he's, stocking up. But do you know how many picks the Hornets have now from recent trades they've made just at this deadline? They've got like 24 picks from now until 2031. All from like,
Rolling with that.
some that they have because they're not playing well. But then they moved Mark Williams, they moved Richards, they moved a couple of guys, and they got a bunch of picks. But anyway, I bring that up because teams like that, Dallas could have easily gone to them like, hey, and they could have gotten a king's ransom. But I do kind of understand, because it seems like they wanted to, do the rip it right off Band-Aid kind of method. And maybe if you're shopping them around, you create this sort of angst and, the protesting from the fans. So I think they wanted to avoid that. But it definitely, I mean, I like Luka. He grew on me a lot. I agree with you. I think the Mavericks won the trade because Luka and LeBron are very similar players as far as being ball dominant and things like that. Um, and then I don't know what to believe, because at times it seemed like he was really in shape. But then, man, during the finals, like he's not a great defensive player as it is, but his defense got really bad. Like it was on that, like when James Harden played for Houston defense. Like that's what it was. Sorry, James Harden catching a stray, but is what it is.
Nah, and yeah, like I said, it's a decent. Like Luca's grown on me too, so I
He's
know he's a
really good.
defensive. I know he's a defensive liability, but like it's the NBA. Come on, like they'll find a way. It's hard to be a defensive liability when you just drop 38 or 45 on the Bama's head. Um, with their 13 points on too. um, real quick, the Mavericks weren't the only people making moves.
No, they weren't.
Before I even talk about the trade, though, shout out to the Wizards, man. They are riding a 3-game win streak. It started on Saturday, I believe, when they took out the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota. I think Minnesota sat some players, but they took them out. Followed that up with a win in Charlotte, I believe, on Monday night, and last night in Brooklyn.
They're
Just
ruining it.
annihilated the Nets. I mean, they beat the brakes off them Bama's. And I know because guess what, y'all? I watched the game. I actually watched the game. I'm down bad tonight. I'm chilling, man. I was like, man, I gotta do something. I ain't trying to watch no movies. I'm over football for the moment. Oh, the Wizards game starting. Let me just throw this on since I ain't got nothing to do. Let me just watch this.
They
Man,
ruined everything,
first,
Mike.
huh?
I said they're ruining everything, Mike.
Nah, they still trash. They still only won 8 games so far this season. And maybe the NBA might bless us if we finish with the third best record. It might bless us with the first pick anyway with the lottery. But the fact of the matter is that these young boys are starting to play, and they need to because a lot of people just got traded, but a lot of people came back. So I'm gonna go through some, well, not some. I'm gonna go through all of the Wizards trades leading up to today's deadline. Also, shout out to the Spurs and De'Aaron Fox. That's a nice pair with Wemby and Castle, and yeah, they got a mob in San Antonio building up. Also, the Mavericks. Shout out to them. They picked up Caleb Martin as well. Another piece to add to that bench, or maybe he might start. But let's get into it with the Wizards. The first trade they made, they finally got rid of Valanciunas, traded them to the Kings for a 2028 and 29 second round pick, and they also traded for guard Sidney Sissoko,
That
who
dude
they
was traded like
immediately,
multiple times in like 3 days.
and then he was waived this afternoon. So
We waived him.
yeah, we waived him this
He's
afternoon.
French, right?
Yeah, 20
Yeah,
year old
it's crazy.
Frenchman.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what I was saying.
he'll get picked up by somebody. Second trade and probably the biggest trade for the Wizards this deadline. Wizards send Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and a second round pick to the Bucks. They received Chris Middleton, guard AJ Johnson, and a 2028 first round pick swap. I believe Washington also traded Delon White. I think he was on the Wizards and not the Bucks. Let me. I can't confirm that. I'm sorry. I think. Let me. Oh no, he was on the Bucks, so that's my bad. He actually played for the Heat before he played for the Bucks. So when he left Washington, he went to the Heat, then the Bucks. But he was not involved. He was not from Washington in that trade, but they did receive Chris Middleton in 2024 first round pick guard AJ Johnson. There were two more Wizards trades we have to talk about. Philadelphia Sixers with a salary dump. They give us Reggie Jackson and a 2026 first round pick, the less favorable between Oklahoma City and Houston, and the Clippers. But the Wizards gave up Jared Butler and 4 second round draft picks, 2027, 2028, and 2030s. And the last trade, probably the second biggest trade for them, the Wizards trade guard Johnny Davis, the first round pick from Wisconsin that seemingly never played for us. Marvin Bagley Jr., I mean, the third, I'm sorry, and 2 second round draft picks, and they picked up guard Kobe Jones, former Terp Alex Lynn, and my two favorite pieces of this trade, guard Marcus Smart, and a 2025 first round pick. So if you've been listening to all that, the Wizards traded a lot, but they got back 2 first round picks, Chris Middleton, Marcus Smart, Kobe Jones, Alex Lynn, and a 2024 first round pick, AJ Johnson. I personally think that they could not have done a better job maximizing their assets. They came away with 2 first round picks to pair with the first round pick that they have. Um, what more can you say? Like, we knew that this would be a long season for the team. We knew that they were tanking. We knew that they had to get rid of Kuzma and probably Poole, but they didn't get rid of both. They kept Poole and still got a lot of assets back while still keeping a young core together. A young core who I believe, I mean, who I saw play very well last night. Um, my man Bud Carrington. He had a double double. My man Bilal Koulibaly, first ever triple double last night versus the Nets. Keyshawn Jarrett did his thing. Alex Sarr didn't even play last night. So yeah, like when I say the young Wizards are looking nice right now, I mean it. Those rookies can be some key pieces on the team moving forward. Not necessarily elite players, but players that you would love to have on your contending team for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're still obviously going to be in a different spot versus a lot of other teams, but I do like that mixture of getting, the Chris Middletons, the Marcus Smarts, guys who are vets and have some championship pedigree, some experience, some wisdom to bestow upon some of these younger players. And then you pair them with Poole, with Kispert, once Sar gets back in the lineup, Koulibaly, Carrington, Keyshawn, is it George? Is that the one we got? That's what I thought. I stopped myself because I was about to say Keyshawn Johnson. he came out of retirement. He's not playing football anymore. He's a tweener, power forward, whatever. Anywho, it's a really interesting mixture, but yeah, certainly getting those draft picks. And I think that's kind of what we've been trying to do all along is just sort of get the roster manageable, especially from a contract standpoint. Obviously, Jordan Poole's making a lot of money right now, but I think that was part of getting rid of Kuzma is that big contract he had as well. And then kind of really starting to build a young team around Alex Sarr, around do we still got what's my guy's name? Johnny Washington something or other.
Woo.
You know who I'm talking about. Dude out of Wisconsin. He's still on
No,
our
I
team.
just told you wasn't listening. You were
No,
not
I
listening.
wasn't.
We
No, I
traded
wasn't.
him.
Okay.
Traded him
Well,
today.
I still
And
hey, Carrington's nice. We definitely build around him too. Especially
he,
considering how young he is. So
yeah,
well,
he was traded in that Grizzlies trade with Marcus Smart and Alex Lynn. Um,
oh,
him and Marvin Bagley
I'm
were
sure you like
traded.
Alex Lynn coming back to town.
I when I looked at the trade, I was confused because I'm like, hold up, we have Alex Lynn. Like I thought we were trading him. I'm like, hold up. And then I read it again. I'm like, oh, he's coming here. So that's good. Former Terp. Um, I think I'm not. Don't quote me on this. Was he still? Were the Terps still in the ACC when he was playing?
I believe so.
I feel like they were because I
Oh yeah.
lied to you not. I cannot like when Maryland moved to the Big Ten. It really has been hard to follow them, bro. Especially ask me when's the last time I watched a Terps basketball game. I can't tell you because like they it really took something away from me when they moved from the ACC. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Big Ten, especially for football. Like, I'm happy that they're in that conference, especially with what happened years later, especially to the ACC. So I'm happy that Maryland's in the Big Ten and that they're in the national spotlight and they can compete or whatever. But at the same time, the opposite happened with basketball. Like, I really don't like. I'm not Wisconsin, Michigan State, Purdue. Nah, man. Duke, North Carolina, Wake Forest, NC State.
Yep.
Like no, Virginia. No, what did y'all do? So yeah. Sorry for the mini rant, but I really miss ACC basketball with the Terps. Um, one last NBA story before we move on to the last story of the show. I'm just gonna read the article from For the Win and then let Eddie speak his piece.
Oh boy.
Dennis Schroeder got dealt
Oh,
twice after comparing being traded to modern slavery. While the NBA's trade deadline is always headlined by the eye-popping moves teams are making to try and put themselves in position to win championships, there's always a human element of everything that goes overlooked, according to Mike B. Sykes for the win. Um, this is associate of USA Today. Um, just before the last minute. No, I'm sorry. I gotta go further now. Uh, uh, you know he hates all this. He man Dennis Schroeder because he was traded for the second time. No, I'm sorry. He was traded for the second time in the last 72 hours, the third time this season. So the article continues to say that Dennis Schroeder, hates all this. A day before being traded by the Warriors, he talked about how NBA players are traded on a whim, comparing it to modern slavery. It's modern slavery at the end of the day, Schroeder says. Everybody can decide where you're going, even if you have a contract. Yeah, of course, we make a lot of money and we feed our families, but at the end of the day, if they say you're not coming to work tomorrow, you're going over there, they can decide that they got to change that a little bit. Uh, and I'll leave it at that. So,
all
you wanted to talk about this? I honestly couldn't
I
care
did. Well, it first of all, he's German, and I'm not saying that that makes him any less black or anything like that. Okay, but at the same time, I don't know what it's like for basketball players in Germany versus the U.S. But what I can tell you is, I think in most situations, whether it's football or basketball or any sport, you choose to play that sport. Now, I certainly get if you're good enough and maybe like you do like it, but you don't love it and you kind of only do it because you have the potential to make money and that kind of money is life changing. I get that too. But to compare this to modern day slavery, I think is just asinine. And Mike, you're more than welcome to correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, number one, it's a choice. Number two, I don't ever remember the slaves making that much money that they actually got. Maybe they made it for the master. Uh, like these guys are the NBA bench, like the seventh. Who was it that went on? What's his name? Micah Parsons and CJ Stroud. They do the podcast. And they brought an NBA player on there. I can't remember who it was, but they brought somebody on there, and they were talking about Saquon Barkley's money, and he was like, "Oh yeah, seventh guy on the bench makes that much money." So you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, miss me with all that bullshit. I I am all for advocating for all kinds of equality and furthering, one's rights and this and that. And I will say, it is messed up when like, you're suiting up for a game and then hey, take off your uniform, you just been traded. I get that. Maybe that's something that's negotiated during the next, collective bargaining agreement between the Players Association and the owners. That would be a good point to like, or a good time to bring up that point rather. But I just like, man, it's not a good look to me. I understand it might be a little weird, like a white guy kind of like talking about this, but I saw it and I was just thinking in my mind, like, yeah, again, my reference about like those who maybe like have the opportunity, which that's a once in a million thing. Like not everybody gets that, but you feel the pressure to keep doing it because it, you know, provides a very well and comfortable living for your family, or well off rather. But you go to any gym when there's high school basketball tryouts and you see That gym is damn near packed at almost every school. And I understand there's exceptions based on geographical location. But what do you think all those kids are trying out for? Now, I understand, like, you got to be reasonable, but it's got to start somewhere. Every one of them kids thinks that, yeah, this is where it begins. I'm going to be on the high school team, I'm going to make varsity, and I'm going to kill it, and then I'm going to go to league, and I'll make all this money. Those are choices. Bro, like, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, but like, you you think any of them jokers chose slavery? Like you didn't get to leave. You got
No,
hurt.
I
Is
think he
anybody
pretty
hitting
much.
Dennis Schroeder? Is the owner of where is he playing right now? Where is Schroeder? Is he playing for the Warriors? The
Nah, he
Eagles?
got traded twice, so he is. I think he on the Heat now,
The Heat?
or did he get traded from them too?
Either
No,
way.
he's in Detroit. I remember he landed in Detroit.
So are we going to witness Detroit's owner come on the court and physically assault Dennis Schroeder if he misses a free throw or a jumper? Like, is that going to happen? You know, I'm
Yeah,
sorry
I
again.
get it, and I feel like this is something. I really feel like this is not the first time he said something like this. Um, like something similar, or I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, anytime you compare anything to modern day slavery, you better be ready to catch some fire because it just doesn't happen in modern um, countries or anything like that. And you're getting paid millions of dollars to play. Like
fucking
that's
A.
it's a
Look at
I guess
like I
like
don't want to
it's a dangerous slope. Like real talk. Like
slippery slope.
I would not have. Nah, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have advised him to say anything like that. And hopefully he has a PR group that let him know like you can't keep running your mouth like this to the media, especially in like a press conference setting. If it was on a podcast, it might be easier to control, but this man just be saying anything. I feel like I said, it's not the first time he said something like this, controversial. So
Well, Mike, I don't want to get on my soapbox, but I just like look at the climate that this country is in to begin with, and there are so many people out there struggling. And then you see this millionaire, like he's been in the league for a while. So he's gotten multiple contracts. And I get it. He dropped the ball with whatever that, I think it was Boston that offered him a contract, and then he turned it down. And he turned down like damn near 100 million something dollars. Um, I mean, I get it. He might have missed out, but that him missing out is still like a dream to most as far as like what he's made over his career. So it looks terrible, like just like god awful. I I only wanted to bring it up because, and it's one thing I love about you is we're friends and you allow me to be who I am, and I actually in a roundabout way like kind of embrace and love like race and not, I don't want to say clash because I'm not happy to see anybody feuding with each other, but what I'm happy to see is like the understanding of each other and similarities when those kind of things happen. So I brought this up with the intention because I was like, you know what? There's got to be something I'm missing here. There's got to be something I'm missing. And I knew that if I said all the things I just said, and there was, that you called me out on it. And it's not about like a content. I'm doing the bunny ears too, by the way. It's not about content. It's like this was a personal thing for me as far as like just this is how one of the ways I grow and learn is by having those kind of interactions and saying those uncomfortable things. And I'm to the point in my life, I've done enough of those things to look like a jackass, and people think I'm a jackass and think whatever they want about me. I don't care. Like, I'm just trying to continue to elevate, and this is how I do it. This is why I wanted to bring this up. It's not to hate on Dennis Schroeder. I think it was a dumb comment, but I don't think because of any one reason or another, even though I brought up being from Germany, I don't think there's anything that contributes to that dumb comment. I think it was just a dumb comment. I do get what he's saying. Now, I'll be honest, it still isn't modern day slavery because these guys make a lot of money, but the look of it is a little awkward to me. In what we call soccer, they call it football. A lot of times when trades happen, it's so like I'm telling you the look of it. This is weird. And listeners and people who are maybe a little more into soccer than I am, you correct me, but when they get a player, it's they pay the other team for the player and then they have to pay the player. So in a roundabout way, to me, that seems more like just the look of it. Like, don't be wrong, these guys are still making money.
Yeah,
They
I
are
never
revered.
understood the transfer fee and
Yeah, and
soccer
it's so
overseas.
weird. It's like, bro, what? Wait a minute. And now, hey, look, that's how they got it set up. That's how they've been doing it. Like I was about to say, football players in Europe and other parts of the world, they are treated the way NFL and NBA players are. So they're doing fine. They're not being harmed or anything in that sense. But the look of it is way worse than anything that Dennis Schroeder is trying to describe, as far as I'm concerned. So
Nah,
that's all I got to
definitely.
say about that. Appreciate you.
Um, Last story of the show
Oh, it's a
is
goodie.
from someone we haven't heard from in a while. Uh, from Russian Machine Never Breaks. If you old school, you remember that blog from when Alex
Oh, I do.
Ovechkin first started 20 years ago. Headline: Spencer Carberry on utilizing Alex Ovechkin during empty net situations. He has an incredible ability to read where the puck is going. Um, when I see in the empty net situations, and this is Carberry talking about Ovechkin. What I see in the empty net situations is a player that has an incredible ability to read where the puck is going. People would say, what is he doing out there? He doesn't penalty kill. He's not a defensive specialist. Why would you put him out there? Carberry continued. There's a lot of skilled players that play around the league 5-on-6 that aren't your quote unquote defensive specialists or your penalty kill guys that have a ton of value playing 5-on-6 because they are so intelligent what the offensive players want to do. Um, I say all that to say, oh, one more thing. They know where the next play is and where the puck is going, and that's what you see from O constantly. He's reading where the next puck is going. He has to be careful in some situations. He can't leave the zone too early, but I remember seeing with guys like Willie Nylander, he's reading where the puck is going. He sees that their defensive man is going to get the puck, and so now he goes because he knows they're getting the puck and the puck's going to go north. And it's the same thing with Ovi and Ovechkin. He's reading where the puck, he's reading where that puck is going to go. You can see tons of guys that play 5-on-6 that barely get one or two empty netters a year. And why is all of that important? Because last night, Alexander Ovechkin, I'm sorry, Tuesday night, Alexander Ovechkin scored his 878th career goal. That last goal was the 63rd empty netter in his career, and that is extending his NHL record. And it just goes to show you, we can look at an empty net and say, or a situation when the goalie leaves the net on the team that's trailing and say, "Oh, it's easy to score on an empty netter. There's no goalie right there." If it's so easy, how come players only do it 2 or 3 times a year? And how come this man has done it 63 times over 20 seasons and it's an NHL record? Like the dude knows how to ball. And I understand Gretzky has the record. I understand that Ovechkin might have played more games or whatever. But when it comes to scoring goals, man, y'all gotta give it to my man Ovechkin. And the era where goalies are really, really good compared to when Gretzky was playing. And I'm not shading Gretzky at all. I'm just saying, like, don't poo poo my man if he happens to break the record this season or next. He's earned it. He does it any way you need him to do it. Um, with the game on the line. Do you know how many game winners this man has? Hat tricks. Do you know how many hat tricks this man has? Highlight plays. Rugged goals where you gotta go through an entire defensive line to get to the front of the net to put it in. Receiving assists, like precision. Like there isn't a way that this man hasn't scored a goal or can't score a goal, except for probably from the goalie position. And I'm pretty sure if he played a couple of games in goalie, he probably would have found a way to score there too. And that's just my piece on Ovechkin. But I don't never really brag on my guy like that. But y'all Bama's tripping if y'all don't think this man is arguably the best goal scorer ever.
Yeah, he's on his way. The Caps got a nice win tonight.
Oh, we played tonight. Nice.
They beat the Phillies. The Phillies. They beat the Flyers.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember we played the Flyers. I forgot.
We beat the Flyers. Ovi got a goal early on. That would be
879.
879, so 16 away from that Gretzky record. Uh, you know, I'm going to be real. I think Carberry's smart enough to know that I don't disbelieve what he's saying as far as from a strategy standpoint, but this is also kind of on that same sort of thought process of like, hey, I got a pitcher who's pitching a no hitter. I don't, you don't take him out. You know what I mean? Things like that, or people. The Lakers are playing right now. I'm watching them play. People have accused LeBron of doing this, where like it's late in games where they're losing, or maybe they're up big, and he goes in just to get a couple extra stats to like pad his career stats. I would view this as something similar, but it's also because even even though I don't want to use the term past his prime, but he's definitely closer to that than not. Ovi's still the face of the franchise. He's the heartbeat, all those kind of things. Definitely a lot of young talent that is the reason why this team is doing well. But I would equally say it's like a parallel thing of just a bunch of young guys buying into a system with their second year under this head coach. So the familiarity and chemistry is really thriving. But then I would say there's also sort of this, hey, let's get Ovi this record. Just to add context to what you were saying with the empty netters, Ovechkin has the record for empty netters. He's got 63. How many empty netters do you think Wayne Gretzky had in his career?
Maybe like what, 10, 15?
No, 56.
Oh, for real? Dang.
Yeah. So, well, I bring that up too from this other standpoint that because I just referenced LeBron, and in the way I referenced him, that doesn't sound so great. Oh, wait, he's playing in blowouts to get a couple extra rebounds, assists, whatever else. Because that's how it looks. It looks like, oh, here's Ovi coming in the game now that we're up and just tapping in a goal. Well, no, Wayne Gretzky did this too. And the point is, here's how I look at it. Also, kind of piggybacking on Carberry's strategy. If I'm up by one, right, and goals are hard to come by, but the other team has pulled their goalie, and I have one of the best goal scorers ever, and I can kind of get a 2-for-1, so to speak, meaning like I'm already up one, and then I score another one. Well, now that kind of puts more pressure on the other team and takes it off of us. That's the way I view that. I don't see anything wrong with that. Furthermore, like the whole point is to score goals. I'm not saying defense isn't a part of the game, but what all of a sudden we're supposed to stop playing because you don't like that you're losing? Like,
Nah, I get it, and that's why I've never. If somebody wants to run up the score, I feel like you have the luxury and the ability to do so, because the whole point of the game is to play the game, treat it fair or whatever. It's different in football than it is in other sports, and I guess hockey too, since it's so hard to score in those two sports. But in basketball, bro, if I pull my starters and y'all can't start my backups, that is on y'all.
yeah, I agree.
I'm not pulling my backups to play the backups unless somebody gets injured or something. But if you struggling against the B team, what makes you think you're gonna do any better against the C team anyway?
Yeah.
Like, whatever, man. But I digress. Unless you got something else to say, about to wrap this up. Hit that
Uh,
80.
I
Hit
do
the
have an interesting nugget that I found out today. So, we are maybe like what a month and some change away from pitchers and catchers reporting, talking about
okay.
baseball. So, Dylan Cruz, young superstar for the Nats, uh, apparently his godfather is Thurman Thomas, former running back of the Buffalo Bills. Um, I learned this today driving home from work, listening to 1067, 106.7 The Fan. Excuse me. But apparently, when Dylan was like really young, he lived in Orlando, and Thurman Thomas did as well, and they were neighbors. And he and his wife had young children, and I guess in neighborly fashion, etc. Thurman Thomas and Dylan's dad kind of bonded over parenting and just a lot of those things. And I'm sure, oh, you're Thurman Thomas. Like, you kidding me? And now apparently Thurman Thomas is this like diehard Dylan Cruz fan. He's his godfather, obviously, like he's going to support him. But he's been spotted at, various games where he can make it, and he's there cheering Dylan Cruz on. And Grant Paulson, the guy who reported on this, was kind of like, I thought that was interesting that he just likes Dylan Cruz. And then he kind of talked to him about it, and it just, yeah, kind of just a cool little nugito of information.
Nah, that's what's up. And definitely shout out to the Nets. Like he said, pitchers and catchers are reporting soon. Um, we'll talk about them if they give us something to talk about. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. And I feel kind of king, and
Yeah, yeah.
just saying, like, just
Whatever
saying,
moves the needle, right?
they gotta give us something to talk about. Like, it's the off season. Like, it's the Commanders off season. We still talking about them. I don't think we talk
Oh,
about the Nets since September on this show.
no,
Unless we talk about Cruz and Daniels taking that picture, but that's probably the only
oh,
Nets
dude,
thing we
that
talk
that
about.
picture goes so hard. I'm gonna need to get that. I'm gonna need to like find that somewhere and
Facts.
print it and frame it.
Um, Shout out to my guy Josh Allen. He won the MVP tonight.
Oh
We
wow,
already told y'all, yeah, we already told y'all Jaden Daniels officially run the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'm pretty sure Jared Verse won Defensive Player of the Year.
that makes
Cook me
sense.
if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. And yeah, that's it, man. I'm about to hit I-81 to I-66 to 495 to exit 7. Um, I'm hitting
Bang
them.
bang boom.
But thanks for joining us. If y'all made it this far, I truly appreciate it. Watch the Super Bowl, enjoy the halftime show, enjoy the commercials. holler at y'all Bama's next week.
Adios.